Cheers. Come on. 2 more. That's enough. Fucking 10. Come on. That's better. That's clear. 10. 3 more. Perfect. Chris. 2 more, man. Let's go. Up. Push. Shoot. 1 more. 2. Wait. That's better.
He had the genetics of a god, the shape of a champion, and the hunger to beat the greatest bodybuilders on earth. They said he could have been Mr. Olympia, but life had other plans. This is the legend who pushed through pain, addiction, and tragedy, and still became one of the most complete physiques in bodybuilding history. This is Chris Cormier, the real deal. Chris Cormier was born in Palm Springs in 1967, growing up surrounded by poverty, violence, and instability. While other kids dreamed of normal lives, Chris dreamed of escape, and he found it in the iron. At 13, he walked into a gym for the first time. The weights were cold, the room empty, but he felt something he'd never felt before: control. The gym wasn't just where he trained, it was where he discovered who he could become. When Chris first lifted weights, people noticed. He grew faster than anyone had ever seen. Muscles exploded on his frame as if he was carved from stone. Coaches couldn't believe it. Veterans were stunned. Even future legends admitted Chris Cormier had some of the best genetics in bodybuilding history. But genetics alone don't make greatness, and Chris knew it. While others trained to compete, Chris trained to dominate. Hour after hour, day after day, he was building a physique that would one day shock the world. In 1993, Chris Cormier earned his IFBB Pro card. From that moment on, everything changed. His symmetry was flawless. His muscle bellies were round, full, perfect. His stage presence was magnetic. Imagine stepping on stage during the era of Ronnie Coleman, Jay Cutler, Flex Wheeler, Kevin Levrone, the most competitive era in bodybuilding history, and still being called the real deal. Chris wasn't afraid of giants. He stood shoulder to shoulder with them, matched them pose for pose, and sometimes beat them. Chris Cormier wasn't elite, he was beyond elite. Chris remained one of the most dangerous men on any stage, the kind of physique that made other competitors nervous backstage, the kind of competitor who could win any show on any.
Present the best package you have, and the rest is up to them. You know, they're people just like the audience is, and they do see, and it's, you know, it's up to them. What they see is what they put down on the paper and give you the best judgment that you deserve.
You were just dominating shows. Nobody was close to you.
day if he was on, but behind the stage lights a storm was waiting. Few people knew the real battle Chris was fighting. He wasn't just competing on stage, he was fighting himself. On the outside, he looked like a champion, but inside he was drowning. His body was failing, his mind was breaking, and his dream was slipping away. And the darkest part of his journey was still ahead. In 2006, after what seemed like just another training session, Chris felt something different pain, not soreness, but sharp, alarming pain. Within hours, he collapsed, and doctors discovered a severe spinal infection so dangerous, they warned he might never walk again. His career was over, his mobility gone, and his life hanging by a thread. The man who once squatted mountains couldn't stand. The man who posed on Olympia stages couldn't move his legs. Everything he worked for, everything he bled for, everything he sacrificed for was slipping away. But Chris Cormier still had one thing left: the will to fight. Most men would have given up, but Chris didn't. Even when doctors told him recovery was impossible, he trained anyway. When they told him to rest, he pushed harder. When they said he would never walk again, Chris stood up and took his first steps slowly, painfully, one step at a time. Just like he had done his entire life, he rebuilt himself from the ground up. He didn't return to bodybuilding stages, he returned to life. And that was his greatest victory. Today, Chris Cormier is more than a bodybuilder. He's a mentor, coach, and teacher who uses his own pain to guide others away from theirs. Chris Cormier reminds us of a powerful truth. Greatness isn't about perfection. It's about surviving the days when everything feels impossible. It's about falling and rising again, about walking through darkness and choosing to fight anyway. So the next time you feel weak, the next time doubt whispers in your ear, remember this: the real deal didn't win because of genetics. He won because no pain, no failure, no fear could break his will. This is the story of Chris Cormier, the legend, the warrior, the survivor, the real deal.